You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the 7 and a Hook Podcast, the world's premier sports betting podcast. Your source for the best information and insight when it comes to sports wagering. We cover it all because you bet on it all. So let's head up to the studio and get this show rolling.
Hey, Brooksie here, the Irish Insider for the 7 and a Hook Podcast. Hey, hope everybody's having a great day. Can you smell it? Can you smell it? That's right, Final Four. Woo! The Final Four is finally here. Man, what a great tournament so far, right? Man, oh man, it's just been some really, really great games. Upsets, upset specials, not so upsets, just some really, really good games. And you know what? More importantly, it's been a profitable tournament here at the 7 and a Hook Podcast. Hopefully, everybody's been tuning in, taking our picks, and go cashing some ticks. Because I know one thing, we've made some money on this tournament, and yes, that's really what it's all about. Listen, I love basketball, but I love the action. And you know what? I love taking down the book. And you know what? We've been doing it here on a regular basis at the 7 and a Hook Podcast. So, all right, so anyways, again, hope everybody new to the show, check out the website above my head, 7andahook.com. All of our content is there, and contact information. All of our previous videos, all of our previous podcasts. You know, we've got 4 hosts. We got myself, the Irish Insider. We've got Jimmy D for Double Down. When he gives you a pick, you better go play it. Doug E. Betts, and that's Betts with a Z. One of the young guns in handicapping. And man, is that cat good. And then, of course, Easy Money, Eric LaFleche. So, man, we got a full cast of characters. Oh, and I certainly can't forget Cara, the Queen of Diamonds. That's right. She was on our most recent remote broadcast from The Boat in Drake, Massachusetts. We broadcast there a couple times. We're going to be heading back there soon. More information to follow. But hey, don't forget, check out all of our socials. It's the number 7, as I always say, and a hook. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then obviously go to YouTube and search 7 and a Hook Podcast. Give us a subscribe. Okay, so again, we are down to the Final Four here, March Madness 2022. I'm going to break down each of tonight's games, both sides and totals. I've got some prop bets on each game. So again, a lot of action going to be taking place tonight in NCAA men's basketball. All right, so first game on board. The first game is Villanova, a number 2 seed, taking on Kansas. So the Wildcats taking on the Jayhawks. All right, so Kansas, the Jayhawks favored by 4, -4, points total set at 134. All right, let's look at the Wildcats. What was their path to the Final Four? Okay, so took care of business against Delaware, 80-60. Next round, took care of business with Ohio State, 71-61. Michigan next up for them, 63-55. And then to get into the Final Four, knocked off Houston. Yeah, that's right, Houston. And Houston was everybody's darling as we headed into the Elite Eight. But man, oh man, Villanova just had an unbelievable defense that stifled the Houston Cougars, held them to 44 points, and that's how they got here. Now, obviously, winning that game against Houston was, a big story, but I guess the bigger story is they lost their guard, and that's Justin Moore, and that is a big deal. He averages almost 15 points a game with an injury. Like I say, he's out. He's not going to play the rest of the tournament with an injury. He averages 14.8 points a game, 4.8 rebounds a game. They're going to miss his scoring. They're going to miss his rebounding, and really they're going to miss his leadership because he is one of the leaders on that team. And the minutes, he averages almost 35 minutes a game. This guy, he's on the court pretty much the whole game. The Wildcats, they average 71 points a game, let up 62. All right, let's look at the Kansas Jayhawks, a number 1 seed. How did they get here? Well, they beat Texas Southern 83-56. Now, Texas Southern was one of the first 4, one of the play-in games So they had to play a game before they played Kansas. Kansas kind of, dispersed them pretty easily. Then they had a little bit of a scare against Creighton, but they held off to beat Creighton 79-72. Creighton was down their starting center, 7-footer, had an injury in the prior round. But Creighton just came out and rained threes the whole game, and it was a close game up until a minute or so where Kansas kind of pulled away. But, Kansas, again, did what they had to do. Moved on, beat a very, very scrappy Providence team, 66-61. And then to make it into the Final Four, Kansas really put the hammer down on the U. That's right, Miami of Ohio just basically ran them out of the gym, 76-50. Now the Jayhawks, a little more of an up-tempo team. They like 78 points a game they're going to put up on a board. They let up 67. All right, each of these two teams is on a 9-game winning streak. 3 words are going to determine this game: tempo, tempo, and tempo. That's right. And I think it's going to come down to Villanova slowing the tempo down, okay? Which isn't a stretch for them because they're not an up-tempo type of team. Now, of course, with, losing Justin Moore, they're going to have to, I think they're going to try to run out the clock. I really do. They do not want to get into a huck and chuck game with Kansas. They're not going to win that type of game. So I think you're going to see Villanova slow play this game. I do. I think they're going to walk the ball up the court. Of course, if they, they get a chance to run and they got to lay, they're going to go for it. But I think for the most part, they're going to slow this game down. Okay, yes, I'm going to go back to, Justin Moore, him being out. It is a big deal. But, it happened a little over a week ago. So, Jay Wright, the coach of Villanova, this isn't his first rodeo. Now, he's had an entire week to prepare for this game without Moore. Okay. Now, if this happened mid-game against Kansas, you probably would be lights out for Villanova. I don't think that's the case here. I think Villanova is going to have a strategy, and again, I think it's going to be pump the brakes. We're going to use a soccer term: park the bus, right? Slow it down. Tempo, tempo, tempo. That's why I like Villanova plus the points in this game. So give me the 4 with the Wildcats. And as far as the points total, set at 134, I'm looking down. I'm going to go under in this game. I think it's going to be a slow grind here. I think it's going to frustrate Kansas a little bit. So, all right, a couple prop bets also on this game. I'm going to look at, first, a couple Villanova players, and that's Colin Gillespie, first off. Points total, his scoring points is 14 and a hook, 14 and a half. Yeah, I'm going to go over. I think he's going to have a pretty good game here. He's going to have to step it up with Moore out with the injury. And as far as, I got a rebound prop for Jermaine Samuels. It's 7.5 rebounds, 7 and a hook. Again, I'm going over. I'm going to go over 7 and a hook rebounds for Samuels. All right, and I have 2 more prop bets. These are for Jayhawk players. David McCormick, their big forward. His rebound total is set at 6 and a hook, 6.5. Yeah, I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over 6.5 rebounds for McCormick. And then their feisty little point guard, Remy Martin, his assist total, 2.5, 2 and a hook. Yeah, I'm going to go up. I'm going to go over 2.5 assists for Martin. Okay, so let's move on to the nightcap. And this is the game. Man, I think a lot of people wish this was the national championship game, but I know one thing. If you're from the state of North Carolina, this is the national championship. So, all right, so you got University of North Carolina, the Tar Heels, a number 8 seed, taking on none other than the Duke Blue Devils. That's right, and they're a number 2 seed. Duke is favored by 4, minus 4, and points total set at 152 and a hook. Oh, by the way, if there are any Eric Church fans out there, probably not happy tonight. I'm sure, Twitter was abuzz. Eric Church, he's on tour right now and actually canceled tonight's show. Why? Well, because he wanted to watch this game live. He didn't want to see about it after. So I guess Eric Church, that country star, is a pretty big fan of UNC and Duke clashes. So, but again, if you're holding a ticket for an Eric Church concert, probably not happy. But anyways, moving on here. All right, so let's look at the Tar Heels. How'd they get here? Took care of business big time. Made a statement in the first round where they demolished Marquette 95-63. Then a thriller, overtime thriller, knocked out a number 1 seed, Baylor. That's right. Went to overtime, 93-86. Moved on to UCLA, 73-66, knocked off the Bruins. And then to get to the Final Four, they knocked off the Cinderella darling, the St. Peter Peacocks, right out of New Jersey, that little school that made it to the Elite Eight. And we're talking, they let 69-49, they sent St. Peter's home. But anyways, congrats to St. Peter's. That's quite an accomplishment to get that deep in the tournament. UNC averaged 78 points a game, led up 71. All right, Dookie, how'd they get here? Cal State Fullerton, first round, 78-61, sent them packing. Then it was Coach K versus Coach Izzo, took on Michigan State. And what always happens when Coach K takes on a coach team from Tom Izzo? Duke wins, which they did again, 85-76. Moved on to the next round, knocked off Texas Tech, tough team, 78-73. And then to make it to the Final Four, dispersed of Arkansas, 78-69. Really had Arkansas confused in that game. Congrats to the Dukies to making it to the Final Four. Now Duke, 80 points a game, led up 67. Okay, so during the season, they met once, home and away. They split. Okay, now Duke traveled to UNC early in the year, beat them up pretty badly, 87-60. And then at the end of the season finale, UNC traveled to Duke and had a little payback and knocked off the Blue Devils 94-81. Now, as everybody knows, this is Coach K's last season coaching at Duke. He's retiring. So really, congrats to him on an unbelievable career. I think it's 42 years or something like that. Made it to the Final Four. Again, Duke is playing some really good basketball. That in itself, Duke and Coach K and his last season and Final Four, that would typically psych out most teams, most opposing teams, or most opposing coaches that would be facing him, the Duke in the Final Four. Not with UNC. They are not intimidated by Duke, and they are not intimidated by Coach K. You could see that in the season finale when UNC traveled to Duke, and that was Coach K's last home game at Duke. I mean, they brought in every a previous player from Duke. I mean, it was a big to do. UNC wasn't having any of it, and they said, "Yeah, not so fast. I don't think so. You're not going out on a high note." And they took it to Duke, and again beat them 94-81. So. Again, I just think this is going to be a very, very tight game. Duke is not going to intimidate. They're not going to push around UNC. UNC is going to come to play. So give me the points. All right, so I'm going to take North Carolina +4. As far as the points total set at 152 and a hook, yeah, I'm looking up. We're going to go over in this game. I think you're going to see some points here. Okay, so a couple prop bets on this game, and two for each team. All right, we'll start with Duke. Paulo Banchero, his points total set at 17 and a hook. Yeah, I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over 17 and a half points for Paulo. And then Wendell Moore Jr., his rebound total is set at 4 and a hook. I'm going over. Yeah, I'm going to look up. We're going to go over 4 and a hook rebounds for Moore Jr. All right, a couple prop bets for some North Carolina players. Armando Bacot, over 16 and a half points. Yeah, I'm going over 16 and a half points for him. And then Caleb Love, his rebounds total is set at 3 and a hook. Yeah, I'm going to go up. We're going to go over 3 and a hook rebounds for Caleb Love. Okay, so there's my picks and my plays on the Final Four. So again, hopefully I gave you some good insight and some good information so you can go take those picks and go cash some ticks. Listen, this is going to be two very exciting games, two different type of games. Again, I think the Villanova Kansas game is going to be more of a, again, park the bus, slow it up, pump the brakes type of game. And I actually think the UNC Duke game is going to be an up-tempo, hammered down, let's put it in fourth gear, and let's get the RPMs cranking. So two different games. I think they're going to be two fun games to watch. So anyways, enjoy the games tonight. Have a great day. And as we always say, may your bad beats be small and your big wins be monster.
Thanks again for tuning in to the 7 and a Hook podcast. Until next time, may your bad beats be small and your big wins be monster.